Hi, everyone, and welcome to Kudu Chronicles podcast, where I interview my friends and people who I want to be my friends. And this is one of the people. Man, she inspires me. She is such a force. When she speaks, you just want to listen. You want to sit down and hear what she has to say because she just has that authority in her voice, the command, and just the power in her voice is. You can't miss it. It's just there, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to have Miss Amina Kaunda on the podcast. I'm going to give her a chance to introduce herself now.
That was such a wonderful intro. Thank you so much, Kadzai. It's so sweet. My name is Amina Kaunda, as you mentioned. I'm a broadcast journalist and communications professional. We have pivoted from radio and TV. Now we're doing a whole full-time office job. But, the TV and the radio bug still bites you every now and again. So also a professional corporate master of ceremonies. So, yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
I love it. I don't know if you know this, but the first time that I saw you, Miss Kaunda, we were at the Elevate Her conference that took place,
yeah.
I don't know, this park, exactly, and it happened on my birthday. So that's when I saw you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I was turning 22, so as a gift to myself, I decided I was going to do something that was going to advance me. I was feeling like a big girl now, and that's where I saw you because you're one of the moderators of the conversations. There were roundtable conversations happening. And when I heard you speak, I was like, you know what? I have to talk to her. And I did. I came to talk to you.
Yeah.
Yes, I love you because I am one person who's passionate about this. Just speaking and communicating with people. I want to be one of those people like you. When I speak, I want people to listen. It's just so powerful when you speak. So that's why we're here today. You're going to give me all the tips because,
yeah. Okay. So what do you want to know first? Let's go.
Okay, so I have 3 icebreaker questions just before we get into the broadcasting and the TVs and the speaking. So the first one is, what is your favorite Zambian dish?
My favorite Zambian dish. Okay, so Nshima, forgive me if I get the terms wrong, but it's Nshima with oxtail, and I think it's Lumanda. If you give me that on just on a regular day, no, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
You'll take it any day. Okay. Second one is, where is your favorite place to shop?
I'm not really a shopper. Hey, I was laughing about this with my boyfriend the other day. I needed to shop for an event that I was doing, and I hated it. I was just like, I want to get out. I can't find what I'm looking for. I'm not a shopper. I'm not a shopper. I don't like shopping.
Wow, that's interesting. I'm surprised actually because I thought this one would be where you go crazy. Like I love shopping.
No. I'm such a tomboy. I think you can see from my attire right now. I'm in my dad's old jersey. My usual vibe is athleisure, so it will be workout leggings, a long top, and maybe sneakers. I am trying to become more girly, I will admit. I feel like I'm failing miserably, but I am trying to get a little bit more in touch with my feminine side.
Oh, I love it. You know what? Take your time. It's okay. The last one is, what is your favorite catchphrase?
My favorite catchphrase, it was something to say to me in high school. And because I used to be very pessimistic as just a a general person, particularly in high school. But she used to say, everything happens for a reason. And I used to hate it when she would say that, especially because she would always say it to me when something bad happened. And I'm like, really? I didn't need to know this. But then the thing that was bad that happened was usually counteracted by something good that happened. So if I didn't get the grades that I wanted, for instance, there would be some sort of counteraction to that. If I didn't get the job that I wanted, there would be some sort of counteraction to that. So as life went on, I started to think, okay, yeah, that's true. Everything happens for a reason. Bad relationships end because it's preparing you for something better, whether it's you single living your best life or you now find a partner and you know what your boundaries are and your do's and don'ts are. Everything happens for a reason. So that's my favorite catchphrase.
I love that. Miss Kaunda. I keep calling you Miss Kaunda. I can't say Amina.
Call me Amina. It's fine. Call me Amina. Miss Kaunda, the trick. Call me Amina.
All right. So Amina then.
Yeah.
Okay, so now our first serious question. Did you always know that you were going to be this person who gets sought out to speak at big events? And, at some point you were representing a company. I don't know what recent event you were at Yeah, I think some few weeks ago, but it seemed like a big event. There was a big company. Yeah, did you always know that you were going to be that person?
No, no,
No.
no. And this comes back to the statement that my friend used to say, which is everything happens for a reason.
Hmm.
I moved back to Zambia because I was actually going to start looking at gemology. So I did talk about my ring. I'm not wearing it today, but I did talk about my pinky ring that I wear often. And what I didn't mention in that post was that gemology is something that's always fascinated me. So I did want to get into learning more about gemstones and jewelry. So my dad dabbling in something to do with that side of the industry, he was like, okay, well, the best place to learn is at home. So I did grow up in South Africa from age 8 until age 24. So I moved home at age 24 after I graduated university and came home because that was the idea. You know, I wanted to get into gemology. And then, long story short, it didn't necessarily pan out the way I'd hoped. And because I'm a very ambitious person, because I started working in a jewelry store and I started making my own money. And that became addictive. So now I went from being a daddy's girl who's going, hi, daddy, can I please have, to, but I don't like asking you for things. Because when I have to ask you for things, you want to know what I'm spending the money on. And if I want to buy alcohol, I'm not going to tell you what I'm spending the money on. So I started to like
Yeah.
earning my own money. So from there, it turned into, okay, so I just need a job. So my degree is in journalism. So I started to look at PR jobs and working at PR firms and different things like that. So my communications background stems many, many years back. But with regards to getting into the media industry, that is basically, I tripped and fell into it. I left the PR job that I was working for. It was a boutique firm, so basically very, very small. And I left that job and then I was thinking, okay, well, I need something to just sustain me at the very least, you know, like something that's a part-time income. And I went to Power FM at the time and I wanted to do their social media management. And, you know, I had a fake interview. So I can say it now because I confessed to the station manager at the time, but I found his business card in my dad's stack of business cards. And I was like, who's this? So I called him and I lied and I said we'd met at an event. And I was like, I need, I'm looking for a job. And he's like, how did you get my number? And I was like, oh no, we met like two years ago. And he's like, where? And I'm like, oh, I really don't recall, but I have your card. I lied. But I ended up getting the interview. Exactly. I ended up getting the interview with Power FM, and then Mr. T, who I credit for my radio career at this point, he heard me speak because I had to go into an interview with him because that's his station, right? So I had to go into an interview with him and I was explaining why I wanted to get into social media management. And he heard my voice and he says, no, I think you need to be on radio. And I'm just like, tee hee hee, ha ha ha, whatever. You know, I brushed it off. And he kind of encouraged me more to get into it. And I was like, you know what, what's the worst that could happen? So they put me on the Sunday show, and a guy by the name of KJ, his name's Joshua, but KJ was the one who trained me. And then next thing I know, I was on the breakfast show. And next thing I know, I was moving into this. And next thing I know, I was moving into that. So I really just tripped and fell into it. But it was something that I thoroughly enjoyed. And again, everything happens for a reason. I lost my job. I didn't get into gemology for a reason. So yeah, this was the reason, I guess.
Wow, that is so interesting. This whole time I'm thinking maybe you actually always wanted to be on radio because maybe I thought your voice was powerful. So I thought maybe she just thought my voice is powerful. So I'm going to go into radio.
No, I used to heighten my voice in high school because I do have a very big voice, and I'm such a small girl. So in school, I used to go, hi, Mrs. So-and-so, and hi, Mr. So-and-so. I try and make myself fit in because I noticed that when I would speak, people would turn. And I'm like, I don't like that. Like, why are you turning and looking at me? You know, because I'm very shy. I'm very reserved. So it was not something that I anticipated happening ever, ever.
I get that.
Yeah.
Well, you saying that you're an introvert, you're shy, you're reserved, and looking at what you do now, it doesn't really correlate. Like someone wouldn't believe that. So tell me about that. Tell me about that. How is this shy, introverted, reserved girl on big stages and speaking and still being confident and killing it? Yeah.
The confidence was a work in progress for many, many, many years. I will say that it didn't always happen instantly. I remember my first event that I hosted. I won't mention it, but I felt like I did a horrible job. I felt like I did a terrible job, and it was because I was so nervous. And what I learned is that nerves are not a bad thing, right? There was somebody who says that if you're way too confident, it means that you're about to F up. But if you have that just undercurrent of nervousness where, it's like, okay, I know I can do this, but just a little bit of hesitation, that's always good. It's a good recipe for hosting a good event, because once you get in there, you're not overconfident. So you're conscious of what you need to deliver for the event, the points that you need to make. Being a little bit more conscientious about what you need to deliver for the brand is also is a very good thing. If you're overconfident, you're not conscientious of what you need to deliver for the brand. You're more conscious of what you want to do for your brand. And that is where you start to mess up. So, so learning that and not being afraid of being nervous became a good thing. But again, like I said, that was many years in progress. And then getting into the stage and having to work with my reserved side. I'll admit, I still leave events as soon as they're done. Once it's over, I go. And it's because I'm mentally overstimulated. Yeah, for networking, it's a terrible idea. If you're not like me, don't do that. But but over time, I've had to learn how to switch it on. So I can switch it on and switch it off. And I'm grateful that I have like my core people who understand me like that. So they're just like, okay, usually I'll have what I call an emotional support human who will come with me to my events. And that person so usually just sit. I rarely go for events alone. And if I do, it's usually because I know there's somebody that I'll find in the crowd, right? So it kind of puts me at ease. And then generally I will pick a friend who's more or less of a social butterfly. So it's somebody who's willing to talk to people and do this and do that. I'm also grateful that people like yourself will come up to me and speak to me, because I'm not somebody who will go out and speak to someone. So if there's people who are willing to actually come and approach and say, hi, how are you? This, that, and the third, then I'm very receptive. I go off of energies as well. So if I like your energy, I will respond to you. But if I'm in a position where I'm just like, I'm not too sure about you, I'll do the, hey, how's it going? And I'm out. So yeah, it's been work.
Because when I came to say hi to you, you were on your phone. You were sitting by yourself on your phone.
And I'll be content. I'll be very content like that. Even at work, I eat lunch by myself sometimes. And it's not like there's anything wrong. There's nothing wrong. I just like being alone.
Wow. That is so interesting. Okay. So I was going to ask you about your first event, but you did kind of say something on that. But maybe my question would be, okay, you said you felt like you didn't do well on your first event. Yeah, but now that you're done with it, remembering, during your first event, how was it like? I mean, getting to hold a mic probably was not the first time, but just like you're on stage, or whatever the platform was, how was that?
Ooh, yeah, that was, So it was a bigger event than I anticipated. The lady who had organized it, she's a lovely lady. And she was willing to give me this opportunity because she was like, she got my name through a referral. Of somebody else that she knew. And that lady, I had hosted like a small conference for her at another space. And it was very, very tiny. So in my mindset, I was like, okay, this is a good way to get my feet wet, just to get an understanding of how the MC space works. So when I went to this other lady for what I consider my first big event, I had assumed naively that it was also small. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, okay. And, I got paid 1,500 kwacha. I was not mad. I was just like, I can put gas in my car. I can, at least maybe buy a few toiletries or whatever. So it wasn't a train smash for me. And I was looking at what can I get out of this? This is going to go on my resume at the end of the day, And I met with her. We had a good chat and I was feeling confident about it. And then as the room started to fill up, I was like, I didn't think it was going to be like this. People are coming in droves, and it's also people that I recognize from the industry. It's also people that I just know from like work, and there was a lot of people. And now I'm just like, okay, So the nerves started to pick up and pick up and pick up and pick up. And then worse still, I had a wardrobe malfunction, my dress ripped. And then one of the ladies in the crowd had to be really nice and go hunting for a needle and thread. Thank God she knew how to sew. So there was all of these things that were just building up. And then you've got my nerves on top of it. It was one of those situations where I don't think I ever fully eased into the situation. And what made it worse was that this was the first event where there was a government official, and I've never hosted an event with the government official. So you have to do the national anthem, you have to do the intro prayer, you have to do the everybody please stand. So all of those protocols, because I've never done them before. And I mean, she didn't tell me that we were going to have the Minister of Technology coming to the event. So I was a little bit mad about that. But, you know, at the same time, being thrown into the deep end was a good way to learn. Because then I had to figure it out while I was standing there. So somebody came rushing to me and they were like, nope, you have to ask everybody to stand. Nope, you have to do this. Nope, you have to do that. And to be honest with you, you never stop learning with these events. There's always something, especially when it comes to government, because what you'll find is that somebody will be engineer doctor and they'll get mad if you don't put in the engineer doctor. They have to be engineer, doctor, this, that, and the other. There's some people who take it personally. So you're constantly going to have to learn how to navigate different events. And because that was my first, and then there was a government official, I really felt like I didn't do as well as I could have. But also, because I am so shy and because I am so reserved, it was going to go that way anyway. I needed to be able to find confidence in myself and confidence in my ability to deliver. And in the entire time, I can say that's what was missing. It was confidence in myself.
Oh, yeah. I get that. Well, you know what? It was the first event. And now, I mean, if they give you a mic now, that's a different story.
Give me a mic now. We're fine. I still get nervous, but I think I'm a lot more confident.
Certain places, I know. I mean, I feel like I've witnessed it. Yeah. And I have witnessed you speaking. So I'm like, you know what? Just give them a mic. She'll be fine.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the way that you articulate yourself, because you're one of those people. Even speaking to you now, I feel challenged. I'm like, okay, am I speaking right? Because you speak so well. It's like words just flow out of your mouth. How?
Thank you.
Where did that come from? Is it because you grew up in South Africa? What happened?
No, that's my parents. I could attribute that to my parents. So my parents were very, of course, like I think during the time they were growing up, I know that English was like the thing back then, right? So like they were coached in speaking in a way, because I remember I would go to school and I would come home being like, look at, and my mom's like, excuse me, it's not look at. I was corrected real quickly. Yeah. And even just in the pronunciations of the way I say certain things, it was both my parents. So it was things where if I said it incorrectly, they would very quickly make sure that I correct it. And the one thing that I know that I will do the day that I have my own children, because my mom did this with me, was if I don't understand a word, she would tell me, go and get the dictionary. And, you know, as a kid, you're just like, dude, I'm just asking you for an explanation. Why can't you just tell me, you know? But my mom was like, no, my friend, go and get the dictionary. So I would use the Oxford Dictionary. If I heard a word on TV or if there was an adult in the room who said something that I didn't understand, it became a habit. So I always had a bag where I would have the Oxford Dictionary with me and I would page and I would go, okay, what is this word and what does that mean? And because the dictionary gives you the definition, it doesn't give you synonyms, right? So I would have a dictionary and a thesaurus. So with the thesaurus, if I didn't understand the definition, I would go to the thesaurus and look for synonyms. And then once I found those, if I still didn't understand, I would go running to either mom or dad and be like, okay, how do I pronounce this word? Where do I use it in a sentence? So it became just a natural thing. My parents were very, very on hand with teaching us how to speak. But where I wish they would have done more is kind of teaching us our own local languages. So like my dad's Bemba, for instance. My mom is mixed race, so she can be removed from this conversation. But my dad is Bemba. So I really wish that he would have instilled it in us a little bit differently. I understand his reasons when he explains them. That's more of a personal thing. But yeah, that I feel like I missed out on. I missed out on that.
Yeah. So now, right now, if you start speaking Bemba, you're not as fluent.
No, I can understand from like inference and context, but if you go like just rambling, then you've lost me. Then you've lost me.
Wow, that's interesting. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm in a parent lecture right now because my kids, I'm sorry, but they're gonna have to learn how to speak because
And
I'm
you should.
passionate about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Oh
You
man,
should.
so cool. So cool. So Miss Amina, what do you tell yourself now before you go onto a big stage, before you start speaking? What do you tell yourself? How do you affirm yourself? Yeah.
How do I affirm myself? So it's also going back to confidence. It's telling myself that I can actually do this. I would not be in the room. I would not have been approached by the client if they didn't believe that I could, if they didn't like the way I deliver things. So for instance, I'm
Yeah.
very quirky. So in my delivery, I'm not like your typical MC. You know, most people will say things like, "Oh, greet your neighbor" or whatever. I don't like to do that. I'm just gonna put you in an awkward position because I'm a drama student. So, like I said in
Oh,
one of my
yeah.
posts, I taught everybody how to dance the Macarena. So, yeah. I will attribute drama to bringing out a little bit more of my personality, especially in school, because I was so shy. You know, when they say improv, it really is improv. They'll tell you things like behave like you're spaghetti. And you're just like, what on earth? But you have to take yourself, yeah, you have to take yourself out of that comfort zone and then just start wiggling like you believe you're spaghetti. So, and you have to do this in front of people, you know? So it's the fact that once you get used to the idea that everyone in that circle is making a fool of themselves in some way, shape, or form, you become a little bit more confident in yourself. So I like to take those things that I learned from drama school and I put them into how I MC. So my
Yeah.
quirkiness will always deliver in some way, shape, or form. Some people like it, some people don't. And if the
Mm.
client likes it, it means I get repeat business. And I also get
Yeah.
referrals. So my thing is, you deserve to be in the room. You wouldn't be here if you actually couldn't do it. So that's my
Yeah.
mantra usually. Yeah,
I love that. I love that. You wouldn't be here if you didn't belong, right? If you
exactly,
couldn't do it, then they
exactly,
wouldn't have invited you. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Is it just me? Oh, do you feel like you perform the same and there are family members watching you? Or it's the same, even if they're there or they're not? Because I feel like there are
With
times, you know, when the people who are not my family, like just strangers, and I have to do something, I will easily do it. I'm comfortable. But now, when
yeah.
somebody comes in, like a family member, I feel like, I don't know, it just makes me so uncomfortable. So I
Yeah,
don't know if
no,
it's
I
the
get
same.
you. No, it's exactly like that. My mom was never allowed to come to my concerts. Like at school, I would always tell her, "Don't come." I have never. Yeah, it is. I don't know why. It's just weird. Strangers is
Right?
easier. Family members is a
Exactly.
no. I don't know why. I
Yeah.
really don't know why.
Maybe it's because strangers, I mean, you feel like they don't know you, so they won't have,
Yeah,
I don't know. You get to show them whatever you want and they'll take it. They'll believe it.
exactly. And I
Exactly.
think with family members, because they know you differently, when you have to switch on your work side, because it is a work side, I'm working, you know, when I'm on the stage, I'm working. So for them, it's
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, so you think you're a big girl now, huh? And it's like, okay, really?
Exactly.
Like, can we
So
can
now
we
you want to
not?
go back to the show that they know. Yeah.
Exactly. So you're conscious of how your family sees you and how the crowd sees you. And I don't know. I think
Yeah.
it's just weird. I don't like seeing my family in the crowd. I will generally just not want them there.
I just feel like okay, I won't shrink, but I just won't be my best self. You know, it won't be
Yes,
100% me.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's talk about social media. Because
Mhm.
you're a socialite. Would you call yourself a socialite?
Not really. I am social media active, but not necessarily a socialite, no. Yeah.
Okay. So now, how do you choose the things that you get to post? Considering that a lot of people know you now, considering
Hmm.
you're at all these events and people know Amina Kaunda. So now, how do
Yeah.
you get to choose which part of my life goes out there? Yeah, which part of my life
Mm.
people get to see? How do you
Yeah.
choose? Mm-hmm.
Admittedly, that's also been a journey because before I just used to mesh everything, whatever was going on in my personal life, whatever was going on professionally, I would just throw it onto Instagram. And then over time, I just started to, I think it just comes with age, hey? Like, as the older you get, the less you want people to know what's going on in your life. You're just like, I don't really want people knowing who I'm dating. I don't really want people knowing what my house looks like. Like, even the way I've strategically positioned this camera, this is my living room. But, you know, like, yeah, you can see the TV and you can see the doorway, but, you know, that's about it. You want to keep yourself to yourself, I think, the older you get. So now when I make that decision, I do consciously think about, why am I posting this? You know, like, it doesn't always have to be a strategic thing. Like, why am I posting this? What do I want people to see? No, there's times when, I mean, like the post that I made about my boyfriend when he had the t-shirt with my face on it, that was me just having a laugh. I was just having fun with it. But if it's something work wise, I always need to wonder, why am I posting this? And the caption is, also relevant to what am I trying to get out of this? Do I want engagement? Do I want to be funny? Do I want work opportunities? Do I want it to represent a different side of me? You know, so there's always those things that I'll consider before I actually post something. And then, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do have those moments where I do a post and delete, because I'm not the same person I was 3 seconds ago. You know, I'm not in the same mood I was 3 seconds ago. So now and again, I do still catch myself, because I'll feel inclined to share something. And then maybe a minute will go by and I'll be like, I don't really want the engagement on this post, you know, because sometimes I will get a DM and somebody will ask me something and then I'll go, do I really want to have to explain this? No, delete, you know? So I don't take social media very seriously. That's why my following has never been 15,000 followers and whatever. Don't get me wrong. There was a time when I felt like I wanted that, because every time I've gotten MC opportunities, the conversation about numbers has also come up. People will look and say, oh, but your numbers are really low. And I'm thinking, okay, but I have authentic engagement. When people DM me, it's not bots, it's real people DMing me to have a conversation about something. If the Thai green curry, for instance, that I had posted on my socials, the one that I had gotten from, I'll even say it because hashtag not sponsored, but from Mint, Agor. They have a brilliant Thai green curry. I ate it. I liked it. I posted it. There were like 6 people who DM'd me and they were like, we tried it. It was amazing. And you know, that's authentic turnover. That's authentic engagement that you're getting. So that's what I always try to explain to people. That's what I'm delivering. 15,000 followers does not mean that just because you put a bottle of water next to this person's face that they're immediately going to sell that bottle of water. It doesn't work that way, you know? When it comes to social media, I don't take it seriously. I post what I feel like I want to post. There's a reason now I have a TikTok, which is where I just post a lot of my personal stuff, because sometimes you do want to share more personal things, but then you lose when you mix your audiences. For instance, I've got people like Patricia Luhanga and Linda Kasonde who follow me on Instagram. I can't have ladies who are powerful positions like that following me and my nonsense, you know? So I had to separate the two. I had to separate the two. So TikTok is personal nonsense. Instagram is my professional. And so is LinkedIn. So that's how I've learned to just, you know, divert my posting. Yeah.
Wow. I appreciate you telling me that, because I feel as though, you know, I'm interested in all this. Like, I want to be that person who posts, you know, the professional side on social media. I want to have that life on social media. And so I don't really know where to start, because it's something that I'm thinking of when I turn 23. That's next year. So I will be careful with what I get to share on which platforms.
Exactly. And be conscious of who's starting to follow you, because if you have big, powerful names who start to recognize what you're doing, I've just noticed in this instance, when I did switch my profile into a completely professional profile, I've had more people who are in different sectors like banking and engineering and, you know, medicine. And these are like young women who maybe they're not necessarily interested in the media side, but they're like, oh, this is a girl with sense and somebody who I can follow and I kind of like their content. So my followers have picked up because I'm now getting the types of people I want to work with, if that makes sense, the types of industries that I want to be in. And it's because I've completely shifted. So I've removed all of my personal, all of everything that attains to who I am as a person and made it just completely professional, which has worked in my favor. So when you start to strategically place that, I know that every now and again we do want to share something personal, and that's not a bad thing. But as long as the personal stuff is curated in a way that is not too personal. And I'll use the example again of my man in the shirt with my face on it. Like I was also promoting the shirt company that printed the shirt, you know, so it was nice to do. Yeah, it was nice to do that. Yeah.
Okay, I love that. I love that. Would you say your industry, and by industry I mean the emceeing, the hosting, the moderating industry, is female dominated, or I don't know, how competitive is it?
I think it is female dominated, unfairly
Yeah.
so. I do believe that a lot more men should be getting platforms.
Mm-hmm.
There are one or two that I've seen where I'm like, okay, I think you really could do well. But I think it's also because maybe, and I could be wrong, this is just from my observation, the men that are in the space, a lot of them like to do entertainment, and there's nothing wrong with that. We don't really
Uh-huh,
have a
uh-huh.
lot of corporate male personalities, I can think of very few. And
Yeah.
they're the ones who will host things like Kamiza, for instance. He's the State House resident MC, and then you've got people like Chimweka, who he dabbles on both sides. And sometimes you can, but you also it's a fine line sometimes, And again, I'm speaking from just observation. I can't say for sure, but I do believe that there is more room to have more men in this space. I think, yeah. Women, we're always the type who wants to be in the media for some reason. Because even my school, at school, journalism and PR, it was full of women. I don't know why we're drawn to this industry, but we seem to be. And it's not a bad thing, but I think we also need to recognize sometimes, are we actually destined for it? And I'm saying this because I need to call it out in the sense that not everybody is meant for the stage. There was something that I watched just recently, and it was a YouTube video, and this young girl, my heart broke for her because I was just thinking, you're flat and you're not giving that oomph and you're not doing this and you're not doing that. But deep down, maybe she genuinely wants to be in the media. But I'm just like, if I'm an audience, I'm bored. You have
Yeah.
to have some sort of flair, some sort of that thing that will make people listen. So for me, it's my voice. And the fact that I'm weird, I'm quirky, So I think everyone who gets onto that stage and everyone who grabs a microphone, what makes you you? Don't start
Yeah.
emulating who you've seen before. If you're a young man and you want to come onto the stage and maybe you want to host State House events, don't be like Kamiza. Who are you? If
Yeah.
you want to come and host entertainment events and you've seen maybe Medad do interviews and do all sorts of things, don't be Medad, be you, because that's what's worked for
Yeah.
them, you know?
Yeah. Mhm. I love
Yeah.
that you say that, because as we wrap up our conversation, I was going to ask you for your best advice to someone who's looking into this,
Yeah.
emceeing, conversation coordinating, moderating. What would your best advice be for that person?
Yeah, no, I'll double down on the BU aspect because I never would have thought that my weirdness or my voice, for instance, would have actually carried me into this space. For somebody who does not like to be in the public eye, being me has worked in its own way. And even the radio show that I had on Phoenix FM, I still get people saying, "Oh my gosh, we miss Amina Zarina." It was something that was me, and people would always say like, "Oh yeah, I never thought about that." And it's because these are the weird things that are going on in my head. Don't ask me why I know another name for a pig is a sow, but I know, and that's when I came up with Nerd Alert, because I have all this information that's swimming around in my brain for no reason, and I was like, "Hey, wouldn't it be weird if I just shared this information?" And lo and behold, people appreciated it. If I talk about the topics that I want to talk about every now and again, so I know the one that a lot of people were receptive to was the periwigs, the ones that the lawyers wear. And I was like, guys, it's so outdated. Not even our colonialists wear these wigs anymore. Why do we still do this in our graduation photos? And a lot of lawyers were like, no, but we appreciate it. Like, it's a status symbol. And I'm like, okay, but why? It's a dirty wig that costs us a lot of money as a country. Why are we still doing this? So yeah, it was conversations and things that go on in my head that made me valuable to the station. So yeah, honestly, be you. Just be you. Whatever weirdness you come with, be you.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Miss Amina. Not only for your time, but for the insights. Just amazing. I love this conversation, and I've learned a lot. Mostly, I've learned that, you know what, you don't have to change. You don't have to be somebody
Yeah.
else to
Yeah.
be, you don't have to feel like you have to perform, go on stage and
No.
perform, do all these things that you would
Yeah.
never do on a casual, on a normal day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it's not you,
Mhm.
don't do it. Yeah.
Right? Exactly. You just feel comfortable. You have to enjoy it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the right people
Wow.
will be receptive to it. That's all that matters.
Exactly. Exactly. Wow. Thank you so much, Miss Amina. This was so awesome. And I'm sure that my audience, and by my audience, I mean my classmates and my friends, will
We'll pick
enjoy
up,
the
bitch. Don't
conversation.
worry. Just keep going. Just keep pushing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
All right, Miss Amina. All right, everybody. That was Miss Amina Kaunda. Oh my goodness, she's so beautiful, so powerful, and just wise. I feel like I've been learning. Yeah, I was learning the whole time. Yeah, I hope you got as many nuggets of wisdom as you could, and see you on the next episode. Yay!
Bye.